And another thing that goes on in Africa, if you want to come and start a business, an African has to own 51% of it.
Okay, that is a big lie. And I think Osha is going to touch on that too. So before I get there, I want to explain how the Ghana system works for Black people that are not from Ghana. Okay. Ghana has a program called Right of Abode. Right of Abode, I'll try to share the screen here so we can go through it together. Because these people lie, like they think that people haven't read, so they can just come on, and lie about certain things. But you can really just look this thing up. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand the education for a lot of these people. And before you question my source, this is coming from the Ghana Immigration Service. Let me make sure that you can see the on the tab. Let's go down so that it's all visible, because I don't want people to think that I'll post a link in the chat so that you can look this up on your own, because we want to be factual. So here's the thing that this is from the Ghana Immigration Service.gov. So this is a Ghanaian government website. The right of abode is a form of resident status, and this is conferred on a person who meets the following criteria. You can be Ghanaian by birth, adoption, registration, or naturalization within the Citizenship Act, who by reason of his acquisition of a foreign nationality has lost his Ghanaian citizenship. So sometimes when Ghanaians move abroad, they become citizens of other countries. And at the time when this law was actually passed, Ghana didn't have a dual citizenship clause. So a lot of people had to resign their Ghanaian citizenships to be citizens of other countries, and sometimes they would want that back. So this category was first created for Ghanaians. During Nana Akufo-Addo's government, they extended this to the diaspora. Like anybody that can trace his ancestry to West Africa would, through ancestry, get the right of abode, which is a permanent residence. It's like the green card here in the US. They give you that for about 5 years, and then you can apply for Ghanaian citizenship. Here are some of the documents. So this grants the holder the right to reside permanently in Ghana, enter without enter Ghana without visa, work or be employed without a work permit. So you don't even need a work permit. You're a permanent resident. The only thing you can do with a right of abode is to vote. You can also own businesses if you have the right of abode. This lady is probably on a visitor visa and expecting to own businesses in Ghana. This gives you the right to reside permanently in Ghana, enter Ghana without a visa, work, or be employed. So if you've done the right of abode when you arrive in Ghana, you don't need a Ghanaian to own 51% or majority share in a company to operate. You can run your own small businesses. You can own your own companies. So that was a flat out lie. Like these people lie, man. I don't know where this comes from. Like, why do you have to lie? Like, you could be taking opportunities away from other people that need this information. But then again, too, why would you go to Tariq Nasheed's page for any information if this is something that interests you? So they are uneducating themselves about certain things just to make themselves feel good. I tell you, these are feel good people. I don't say this out of spite. It's just the truth, man. After living here for so many years, it's everything to feel good and not really. They don't want to read. They don't want to research anything. They just want to feel good. And this is not like being a stock defender of Ghana. This is just the truth. It's right here. This is the Ghanaian government's website, from Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ghana Immigration Services. And I know people that have actually done this. Like I know Caribbean people that have done this. Okay. And the requirements are not, if you've done a immigration here in the US, the requirements are not even that hard, bro. Like for the diaspora, look at what is required for Ghanaians. It's a long list. Look at what is required for Africans in the diaspora or black people or black Americans. Very simple. Photo ID, get a police report from Ghana. Sorry, I skipped that bit. Get a police report from Ghana. Show your bank statements that you have enough money to live there, right? complete an application form, which is like 2 pages. Go to a notary public. Every corner of Accra has a notary public where you can get them to do that attestation. And do a medical report by just going to any Ghana Immigration Service approved clinic. The whole process for the right of abode, when I looked this up, was about $600, right? That's like if you convert today's cities. And after 5 years, you're eligible to be a Ghanaian citizen if you choose to be, right? So Ghana is pretty much the first country on the African continent, just like independence, to pioneer this. Um, and yet we have all these ungrateful people. It's like it's mind blowing, man. But yeah, let's listen to some more of that video.
Okay, so let me talk about what is true and what is not true. This whole idea of an African has to own 51% of the business. That may be the case in Ghana. In East Africa, it is not true. Uganda, pound for pound, is one of the best.
Yeah, and in Ghana, that is not true either. I know Zambia has it. If you don't have, if you are not, like in my case, I don't have to in Zambia because my wife is Zambian. But if you're not through marriage or you don't have any of the resident visas and you're just on some type of tourist visa or an investment visa, you need a Zambian to own majority share. Also, I think with Zambia, it's not even majority share. I think in Zambia, and we'll look this up. I think with Zambia, you just need to own some share. I think 3 or 5% of the business. So some people do it as an offshoot to kind of get local involvement, and they give somebody a few shares of the company to be able to operate in Zambia. But I know in Rwanda you don't have to, and Oshe is saying you don't have to in Uganda. This is something that has been said on the internet so much that people just think it is true, but it actually isn't true. In Ghana, you don't have to.
Investment countries on the continent. Uganda has its problems, as you guys know, but you can own 100% of the business in Uganda. You also can do 100% of the business in Kenya, and it's yours, okay? So this may be different by African country. I believe you can own land freehold in South Africa and also Rwanda, but yes, this is not all true information for everyone, okay?
So basically, you're not starting a business for you and your family. You're starting a business for them, for their family.
Man, yeah, wow.
So no, doing anything in Africa, I would not recommend it. Not by Black Americans, and it's been said through different.
Why specifically not by Black Americans? Like what? Like doing business anywhere is not smooth. Even here in the US, doing business is not everybody's gonna win. Almost 90% of businesses fail. We could look this up. Business is not for people that don't know how to do it, I don't know what's the percentage of businesses that fail. I'll look this up. Yeah, in the US, the percentage of businesses that fail varies by year. 20% of businesses will fail in the first year in America. 49.4% will fail in their first 5 years. And about 65% will fail up to about 10 years in. So, not very many businesses anywhere. And this is the best market or economy in the world. And it has such a failure rate because oftentimes the people that get into businesses don't have the skill to be business people. So the failure rate, and if you key this down to small businesses, the failure rate for small businesses is even much higher than mid to large businesses. So businesses will fail if you don't know how to do it, and it's not for everybody.
Governments over here encourage Americans to come over to get us to build these lands, to get us to spend money, to get us to educate these people because they know we're more educated than the normal people here.
Yeah.
That's another lie. Everybody, Ghana is not asking for Black Americans to come there and educate them. You're not going there to be teachers. We have enough teachers. Man, we got so many teachers that in the 90s, we were sending teachers to Southern Africa. So we're sending teachers to Botswana, Namibia, and also in Zambia. Okay, so the the state of basic education in Ghana has gotten so much better over the years. Um, the last guy that ran the education ministry actually came from Los Angeles. He was a Ghanaian that owned a school in LA that went back to Ghana as a minister of education and reformed education. I don't like some of the stuff he did, typical liberal mindset from the US, but at least he did his part, right? The the question of more educated, where do you get that from? Like, I mean, in the US, you got to compare yourself to where you live. Don't compare yourself to, I think an IB program, K through 12, curriculum wise, I think the Ghanaian curriculum is better. I went to, or again, I did all my basic education in Ghana. When I came to US, when I came to graduate school here, I thought I taught graduate undergrads developmental math, and their math aptitude was not even up to the level that I had when I was in high school in Ghana. So I think a lot of this thing is again media misinformation, and when you take the poor of our societies and you measure that as our education, and you're overlooking the guys that are going to Addis Ababa College, Yasantua girls. Um, if I don't mention your school and you're Ghanaian, don't hate me. Infante Pim, Infante Man, Wesley girls, Every girls. You know, these are some of these kids. Went to MIT, and I've talked about this, and they went to the same schools, same curriculum. Okay, I think the level of rigor in the Ghanaian curriculum, K through 12, is really harder than it is here in the US. Um, are there some systemic issues that I think Ghana should clean up? Yes, obviously they should. There's a lot more that they can do education wise, which is why they did the free education policy, right? They did the free education policy because the Ghanaian government realized that poor Ghanaians were not having access to education because their parents didn't have the money. So they just made education free for rich and poor folks. I thought they should have done a means tested system so that rich people can keep paying because they don't have a problem paying, and then divert those resources to poorer Ghanaians to get a lot more Ghanaians into the middle. But they did free across the board, came with some challenges. They're trying to clean it up with the new government. But these guys are constantly retooling and trying to fix things. It's not like they're just sitting there not doing anything.
Investing in Africa, most African countries, it is a risk. It is a huge risk with a big reward. You can.
I have to agree too. Again, when you're investing in a place with such low GDP numbers, there's not a lot of upside, right? But also, what I've noticed with Africa too is the credit system is so difficult. It's very expensive to borrow money from the banks. I mean, you're talking 20, 30%. I've seen 40%. You cannot do business when the cost of capital is so much high. So the guys that are coming from low credit systems, like here in the US, you can get a good line of credit, and that'll go a long way in Africa. But don't just invest because it's Africa. Like you have to have a an entrepreneurship, not just mindset, but training to be successful for that region. Like the way I do business in Colombia is completely different from how I do business in Africa. And they all have their own problems. Even though they are all developing countries, I think there's a bit more of an upside for South America. And also the proximity to the US makes it a lot easier for me to do things. But Africa is not for everybody. It's not a very easy turf, man. It's not for jokers too. If you go there with that mindset that because you're American, everything is gonna go well, you're gonna really lose. You're an opportunity for people. So i- if you haven't educated yourself about the place and you just up and left because you saw um, you saw this through the lens of race, that everybody looks like you and everybody is going to welcome you and open their arms and your businesses are going to flourish with or no, without any effort. Um, you're going to be mistaken. I don't, and this is again why I disagree with how Ghana has conducted this, because it's exposed us to people that don't really care about us. Like we're doing fine. We don't need them to come and build Accra. I mean, Accra is pretty well built right now. Few areas left, but Accra is really, really up there right now in terms of aesthetics and the beauty. We don't have slums. In East Africa, I know they got some slums. Accra doesn't have slums. We have a few poor neighborhoods along the coast, but the real estate is so expensive in Accra right now that everybody will just buy the most junkiest place in Accra and just turn it around, really. I think nobody, if you haven't gone and lived there for a few years, like O'Shea, for example, can invest there because he lives there. But if you just show up there and all of a sudden you're starting a beauty salon and you're starting this, you're going to lose. I can almost 100% guarantee that you're going to lose. When you've lived there, you know how people work and how people operate, African time, how people treat time, right? All that stuff. Get through that phase. I think you have much of an upside than you do. Also, another thing that people don't talk about, because of the scarcity of resources and services, most people that do well do extremely well. Like they're not making small profits. They're making 100%, 200% profits due to the scarcity. So that is usually what drives a lot of people to want to go there. But they don't measure their risk, and you really have to.
Now, how long have you been over there, dear?
I have been in different countries in Africa for almost 7 years.
Okay.
Okay, this is the first thing that I realized this was a problem for a video. She did not answer the question. How long have you been in Ghana? She says, I've been in Africa. Africa and Ghana are two different things. One is the continent, the other one is a country in that continent. She's also going to make references to the fact that she said it that way because she thinks all of Africa is the same. That is that FBA mindset. No, all of Africa is not the same. Even neighboring countries differ a lot, okay? A lot. So this is why I think that part of the reason why I think Ghana should rethink this problem. I think it's a problem. So let me just say it, right? I think bringing these guys to Africa is a problem. They're already a problem here. So bringing them there is not going to be any good, okay? I don't see the upside. I think that their contribution, the amount of people that are going there is not a big number enough to make any dent on Ghana's GDP, okay? If you add all these guys up together and their investments that they've made there, even through they said the whole Ghana year of return brought in $1 billion, but that also included Ghanaians in the diaspora. So that the whole thing they did, the whole year festival, they only raised $1 billion from it. Okay. That is what, a few percentage points in Ghana's GDP. And that was at one time. It wasn't recurrent. So that, the 400, 500 or 100, 200 million that you're going to get from this, and the embarrassment that or the disrespect that comes with it, I think Ghana really, really needs to rethink this, because there's not a lot of them to make such a big dent, And also, not all of them are middle class or upper middle class in the US. So it's not like they're all going there with a bunch of money. They're not. Okay.
And what made you settle in
And
Ghana?
Africa is all the same.
No result.
All the countries are all the same.
There you go. That's when I knew she was full of shit. The moment she said Africa is all the same, so South Africa is the same. South Africa is the same as Accra, Ghana. Uganda is the same as Ghana or Kenya. Even just Uganda and Kenya, there's a big difference between Uganda and Kenya, and they're right next to each other. Okay. Africa is not the same. Okay. There's some places that are francophone, some places that are anglophone, there are places that speak Portuguese, and there's one country that speaks Spanish. Okay. They were not colonized the same. They were not partitioned the same. They don't all have the same resources. They don't have the same political structure. South Africa is a parliamentary system. A lot of the other places do 4-year elections, some do 5-year elections, democratic systems, and some are dictatorships like Rwanda, right? So it's not the same. The moment you say that, I knew she was full of shit. I knew she was just one of those uneducated idiots that went there with an agenda and now has found a platform. I saw she was in the comment section trying to defend herself. This is somebody that Ghanaians need to locate and get them the fuck out of there.